see the time. Wittenberg, oh, it's a long ways. They won it! On the dunk.
That is what the tournament is all about. 31 years later, North Carolina State was the last team the selection committee picked for the field of 68, a decision they'll get a chance to validate in Game 2 of the first four when the Wolfpack meet Xavier. The Musketeers must concern themselves with the ACC's Player of the Year and leading scorer T.J. Warren. He's third in the country in points per game. Warren made more buckets than anybody in the nation this season.
It was pretty tough, first round, losing first round, but don't want to repeat that. But it was great to be out there last year, my first time, like I said before. It's a new tournament year, so looking forward to turning things around and going forward in the tournament.
TJ, you've gotten a lot of accolades nationally for the season that you've had. In your work, what kind of season do you think you've had?
I feel like I had a terrific season. All credit to my teammates for allowing me to lead this team the best way I can and win a tournament now. So it's just a great opportunity for all of us, and to lead the way, it feels pretty good. And all my teammates have my back.
This was a team that lost 4 starters from last year's team, one of their best reserves as well. They're a young team, Grant, that really relies on that guy, T.J. Warren. What could get him through to the round of 64?
What gets him through is T.J. Warren. This guy has led them all season long. He can score in a multitude of ways. I really like him in the mid-range area, top of the floor, in the post. Gets a lot of damage done in transition, also at the elbows. The surprising thing is this team, they run everything for him, rightfully so. Reminds me of another great college player, Antoine Jameson, with just a lot of trick shots around the basket. Has a knack for scoring the basketball. I imagine he'll come out and do well.
What you love about him, Grant, everything you said, and also he doesn't have to dominate the basketball. He does an excellent job of, when you watch him play, running without the basketball. He'll get the rebound, kick it to a point guard, get out and run, and he'll try to attack early. I also like how he can get into the middle and make plays, and he's a strong, big body. Also in North Carolina State, here's a team, they score about 70 points, and they shoot a decent from the field goal percentage-wise, about 46%, and they don't turn the basketball over. So that's the way I think they have a chance to win this game.
They'll face a Xavier team playing about an hour from home, although not necessarily all that popular in Dayton, as it's been pointed out.
Well, they got a lot of great fans in Cincinnati who I'm sure made the drive down for this trip. Now, I talked to Chris Mack today, their coach. Their center, Matt Stainbrook, he sprained an MCL, missed a couple of games. He came back for the Big East tournament, didn't start in those games. Coach Mack told me that Stainbrook is going to start tonight. They feel like he's coming along. I think the key guy for Xavier in this game is Justin Martin. He's a 6'6" junior forward. We know that their point guard, Samaje Crichton's going to get some points and run the offense. Martin has been playing better offense over the last several weeks, but he's going to be the guy who's going to be primarily assigned to guard T.J. Warren. He's going to have a very long evening, but if he can hold Warren to under 30, I think you will write him down for maybe 20, but if he can keep him from going absolute nuts, I think Xavier would have a chance, but I like NC State to win because they got T.J. and Xavier doesn't.
All right, good luck with that, slowing him down. You're looking at the ACC Player of the Year and leading scorer. He made more baskets than anybody in the country. Sophomore T.J. Warren of the North Carolina State Wolfpack. In the pack up against Xavier next. That leads us to the Capital One Venture Card double-double of the day. Warren had a few of them this season, 6 to be exact, including a 42.13 rebound game against Boston College. That 42, the highest individual scoring game of the entire season in Division I. And if Xavier didn't know the scouting report, excuse me, in the ACC, not the entire country. They didn't know the scouting report. They can get it from this guy. Samaje Crichton played with Warren at Brewster Academy. Knows him well. They'll be head-to-head on the floor next from Dayton. All right, more coming up here. Game 2 of our doubleheader, NC State and Xavier. That's Ralston Turner. The Wolfpack don't take a lot of threes, but he'll knock one down for you. Getting himself set to go against the Musketeers. A return to Dayton for TJ Warren, who did not enjoy his last trip. This time last year, he was 2 of 5 for just 4 points and a loss to Temple in the NCAA tournament. He's been a whole lot better since. Xavier's got a handful to deal with him.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, Dish, and by Northwestern Mutual.
To Dayton, Ohio for the first 4 presented by Northwestern Mutual. Next up, our second game pits a pair of at-large 12 seeds in the Midwest region. The NC State Wolfpack out of the ACC against the Big East Xavier Musketeers. The winner of this matchup will move on in the Midwest region. They will enter the field of 64 to take on the Billikens of St. Louis in a 12-5 matchup in Orlando. Hi, everybody. Brian Anderson along with Dan Bonner. Christine Leahy is here as well. We'll hear from her in just a moment. Well, Dan, this is a great matchup here because two teams that are happy to be involved in the NCAA tournament and both feature some serious star power.
Yeah, they do, Brian. They want to win this game because that 5-12 matchup is usually an upset, but you got to win it to get the chance. And the star for Xavier is Samaje Christian. This guy, the 4th leading scorer in the Big East. He's big, 6'3", 190, speed, power, can really get to the basket. And when you talk about a guy who can put the ball in the basket, well, go no further than TJ Warren. TJ Warren led the ACC in scoring, almost 25 points a game. His last 5 games, he's averaged better than 31 points a game. This is a big-time scorer who has to be stopped if Xavier expects to win this game.
They'll hope to do well in the backyard of Xavier. And Christine Leahy, it's not exactly feeling like home court advantage for the Musketeers.
Not at all, Brian. I asked NC State coach Mark Gottfried if he was concerned about this being an essential road game. He said, hold on, not so fast. I've been asking the Dayton fans to root against Xavier and for us, and I can tell you they are certainly obliging. If you look around, there's a lot of Dayton fans here tonight.
Yeah, the Boo Birds are out. Great basketball territory here with Dayton, Cincinnati, of course. Xavier, there's Mark Gottfried, back-to-back appearances here in Dayton. Lost to Temple last year in the round of 64. Mark Gottfried bringing the Wolfpack to their 3rd consecutive tournament. Here's the starting lineups for each squad. Tyler Lewis sets up the ACC Player of the Year, TJ Warren, and Samaje Christian, unanimous All-Big East selection. Xavier led by Chris Mack, a Xavier grad, twice an A-10 Coach of the Year, and now he's heading up Xavier in the Big East. Off we go, game 2. Albany won the opener over Mount St. Mary's. They'll move on to play Florida on Thursday, and now the winner here, ready for a date with St. Louis.
Man-to-man defense by Xavier. Here's an interesting matchup. Justin Martin against TJ Warren.
The big man from Australia, Jordan Vandenberg, kicks it to Ralston Turner. And that's how the day begins for NC State. It'll be Xavier basketball.
Now, Ralston Turner is the best 3-point shooter for North Carolina State. He shoots 37% from out there, but NC State is not a 3-point shooting team. They get 62% of their offense from 2-point range and only 19% from 3-point range.
You talked about the stars. How about some of the supporting cast for these two today? Who to look for?
Well, I think Martin is a guy who's capable of having a big game. Matt Steinbach inside right here. Stainbrook, excuse me, inside right here is a guy who's really capable, as you can see, can use both hands inside.
Matt Stainbrook back in the starting lineup was injured, had a left knee injury earlier in the month. Still trying to get his feet under him, but a couple of big bodies down there in Stainbrook and Vandenberg. Washington knocks it down.
Washington is a very capable player from the mid-range. He's got a nice little jump shot.
Washington able to keep his feet in bounds.
Nice block by Vandenberg.
There's TJ Warren with the ball in hand. Tyler Lewis. Excellent assist to turnover ratio. It's at 4-1. Doesn't stuff the stat sheet very often, but he's a perfect complement for T.J. Warren in this offense. NC State has another fantastic point guard in Cat Barber. There's an offensive foul, and that's going to belong to T.J. Warren.
Warren trying to get the step-back jumper, one of his signature moves, and you see he's looking at the officials. He's saying, what did I do? But he got called for pushing off. That's not a good sign for Mark Godfrey.
Part of the new emphasis on some of the rules this year, the armbar. Both teams coming off losses their last time out. How about Xavier having to deal with T.J. Warren tonight? Had to deal with Doug McDermott in their last game. That's about as good as it gets in the country, and they get them back-to-back games.
And they can only hope that they do a little bit better against T.J. Warren than they did against Doug McDermott. He had 30.
D. Davis misses the three. Warren ready to run.
And this is where he's most dangerous, when he's able to get out in transition. Nice pass.
Washington strong inside. Yes.
Warren is more than just a scorer.
Kyle Washington with the first two buckets for NC State. The Wolfpack losing to Duke after a huge win against Syracuse at the ACC tournament. Inside, Stainbrook. Gonna have to see how long Stainbrook is gonna be able to stay on the floor. Fatigue has been a factor for the big man. He's a junior out of Bay Village, Ohio, transferred from Western Michigan. Tyler Lewis knocks down a three. Just a 23% three-point shooter this year.
Yeah, and that's like found money if he's going to make those three-point shots. You're talking about who on the supporting cast is going to help out T.J. Warren. Well, that's support from an unlikely source.
Here's Martin, Justin Martin. He hits nearly 40% of his three-pointers.
Almost half of his field goal attempts are three-point shots. And he's an important scorer. When he gets rolling, Xavier really rolls.
Warren comes up short. Stainbrook clears it away. Samaje Christian. That ball's going to be off of NC State. That'll be Xavier basketball.
Xavier really looking to push the ball. Chris Mack knows that Samaje Christian is really good in transition, so you'd like to get, you don't want to run up and down like Mount St. Mary's in our previous game was trying to do, but Xavier likes to get up and down.
Xavier missed the tournament last year after 7 consecutive seasons coming out of the A-10. And now in the Big East. Lewis finding Washington. Tyler Lewis has it revved up early. Great dish, setting up Kyle Washington with the flush.
And Vandenberg doing a nice job blocking shots on the inside.
Big bodies banging. Stainbrook over Vandenberg. Got it.
Vandenberg actually lost 40 pounds over the summer, so he's down to 245. So Stainbrook's got him by about 20 pounds.
Not as big as he once was, you're saying. Martin on the break, and a foul.
Oh, that's 2 fouls on T.J. Warren.
Oh, and he's hobbled a little bit on his way up. T.J. Warren, 2 fouls, a little dinged up early. Quick story early. NC State moving it well in transition. 9-8. You're watching the first 4 presented by Northwestern Mutual. Off and running here in Dayton, NC State by a point. Let Upwave help you unleash your inner beast. For tips and advice on how to keep your body at its best, check out upwave.com/basketball. And a story early, Dan. T.J. Warren, 2 fouls and a little dinged up. Looked like a possible ankle injury on the last trip down the floor. We'll give you a look at it in just a moment. Xavier basketball, and Samaje Christian walks with it.
And here's Warren. He's coming down the court, and watch his right ankle. He sort of gets it caught here, right there, as he makes contact with Justin Martin. So that's bad news on a couple of fronts. As you mentioned, 2 fouls. He's out of the game. Looks like that ankle's okay there. He just turned it over.
Averaging nearly 25 points a game, the ACC Player of the Year. There's another turnover, a takeaway by Davis. He goes up top too much. Asking too much out of Samaje Christian. Ralston Turner answers for the Wolfpack.
Ralston Turner has almost half of the made 3-point baskets for North Carolina State, and with that turnover, it's just hard to find the 3-point shooters in transition.
Let's see who steps up for NC State. They're not necessarily used to being on the floor without TJ Warren. He typically plays most of the game, if not all of the game.
Well, 35 minutes would amount to most of the game.
And why not?
Yeah, he never comes out of the game, so this will be very interesting for North Carolina State now. And Xavier not helping the cause with the turnovers.
Turnover for Xavier. That's their third turnover. Tyler Lewis has hit an early three. He's guarded by Christian.
Actually, Lewis coming into this one over his last 6 games has hit over 50% of his three-point shots. So he struggled for the most part this year, but he's been hot lately.
Desmond Lee and B.J. Anya in for NC State. Shot clock at 6. Cross court, Lewis. Christian right on him. Lewis, tough shot, and it comes up short of the shot clock violation. Outstanding defensive possession for Xavier.
And again, let's point out that TJ Warren is on the bench, and North Carolina State simply is not used to playing offense without TJ Warren. So what you have to do here if you're the Wolfpack is dig in defensively, and if you're Xavier, you have to take advantage of the fact that the leading scorer for the other team is on the bench with 2 personal fouls.
Samaje goes to the hole, hangs, and a block by Desmond Lee.
Samaje Christian is a big, powerful guy, but running into B.J. Anya, that's not a pleasant experience. Christian telling the referee that he got fouled.
NC State already with 3 blocks. Veteran crew here officiating. Joe DeRosa, Doug Sermons, Gene Steratore. And there's a whistle on the floor called by Gene Steratore.
Chris Mack has the opportunity to ask Doug Sermons why there wasn't a foul down on the other end.
Here comes Anthony Barber, Cat Barber, as they call him. Backup point guard, but a guy who brings a lot of weapons to the table. Leonard Freeman is in as well for NC State. By the way, that foul was called on D. Davis of Xavier.
Barber is really, really quick. He does a great job getting the ball to the basket. Not a great shooter.
Barber looking to turn the corner. Guarded by Christian. Here's Lee on the take and a foul. And a couple of free throws coming up for Desmond Lee.
And Desmond Lee is another one of those guys, Brian. He's a scorer. He's not a shooter. Under 30% from beyond the three-point arc, but he gets to the free throw line. This will be his 131st free throw attempt of the season. You got to keep him in front.
We invite you to watch live games on your Amazon Kindle, Android device, iPhone, iPad, or computer with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. A couple of free throws for Desmond Lee. He was quiet in that loss against Duke, had just 4 points in 14 minutes. Figures to get a lot of playing time early here with TJ Warren on the bench with 2 fouls. How about these big bodies? Stainbrook against Anya.
Now, Anya's 325, so he outweighs Stainbrook.
There's Samaje Christian.
And Christian, again, he's telling the referees that he got hit on the arm. Christian very aggressive, but you've got to be careful. You can't start chirping at the referees early in a game like this.
First field goal of the night for the sophomore from Cincinnati, Brewster High School. Christian is Xavier's top scorer, averages just over 17 a game. Martin guards Lee, and Lee falls down. Good defense there by Justin Martin. And Davis in transition takes on Anya. And a hard foul sends him into the camera operator.
D. Davis is extremely aggressive, and he's little, but he's powerful, and he just put his body right into B.J. Anya, and the big guy not quick enough to get over there and stop it.
He's one of 3 returning starters for Xavier. He and Martin and Christian. Anya with the foul. And that's how he shoots him. D. Davis with that high arc.
That's the way he shoots his three-point shot. Davis is a guy. Here comes T.J. Warren back in, so Mark Godfrey trusting his sophomore scorer. He sees his team looks a little bit out of sync on the offensive end. But Davis is a really good defender. He's an outstanding three-point shooter. He takes really good care of the ball.
Good to see Warren back in there. Looks like the ankle's okay, but does have the 2 fouls.
One of those 2 fouls, remember, was an offensive foul. So let's see if having 2 fouls will curtail his aggressiveness on the offensive end. That's one of his primary traits. He really looks to score.
Leonard Freeman, out of activity, goes up with a jump hook. And out of bounds on Martin. Xavier, that'll be NC State basketball when we come back. Got a good one starting it off. 2-point game. Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship will continue after this word from your local station. The first 4 presented by Northwestern Mutual continues tomorrow on True TV with Cal Poly and Texas Southern, and then Iowa against Tennessee. The night starts at 6 p.m. with the Infinity NCAA tip-off show hosted by Matt Weiner, Kevin Harlan, Reggie Miller, Lynn Elmore, Rachel Nichols will have the call for you tomorrow in the first 4 from Dayton. Earlier tonight, Albany advancing to the round of 64, a win over Mount St. Mary's. And the Great Danes will be headed for a matchup with the Florida Gators. The winner of these 2 will match up against St. Louis. It'll also be in Orlando. NC State with the lead and the ball. And it's T.J. Warren. So Warren, playing with those 2 fouls, comes back, hits his first bucket of the ball game.
How about that quick release? Martin didn't even have time to get a hand up.
Samaje Christian, just 1 field goal made. Stainbrook will take it, and he'll knock it down, the big lefty.
Well, you can see how valuable Stainbrook is to this team. He's a guy who operates very effectively close to the basket, and as you can see, he can hit that little jump shot, averaging over 10 points a game. He's a very valuable offensive weapon.
And he has 8 already. He's 4 for 4 from the field, Matt Stainbrook. Lee comes up short. Stainbrook rips it down. B. Davis wants to move it a little bit. Stainbrook matched up by Anya, kicks it out, and Martin comes up short. Rebound pulled down by Leonard Freeman. NC State hoping this is not a repeat performance for T.J. Warren from last year's NCAA tournament here in Dayton. Warren just 4 points last year in 33 minutes, but a much different player this season than last. He's doubled his scoring output. Oh, the big finish by B.J. Anya. Almost brought the entire goal down.
And that you can credit that particular play to T.J. Warren. They're paying so much attention to T.J. Warren, basically double teaming him. And Warren's got to be careful there. He's got those 2 fouls. You don't want to pick up a cheapie.
Anya getting extended run here early. And Anya gets the block. That 7'9" wingspan coming up big. Here's Warren. Easy as it gets. Set up beautifully by Lee.
Great outlet pass by B.J. Anya, and then T.J. Warren did a nice job sliding around D. Davis, who was trying to take a charge.
NC State up 6. Xavier looking to answer. Stainbrook lost the handle. Here comes Cat Barber.
This is what he does really well.
Got away with a push off, and he finishes at the rim. Boy, he puts you on skates, doesn't he?
He's really fast, and when he can get out in transition, this NC State team becomes very, very good. But B.J. Anya, what a first half he's had for the Wolfpack.
The big finish. The freshman getting some serious run early here in Dayton. Quick little 8-2 burst for NC State. Now the Power 8 sideline reporting. Christine, they're checking the engine light over there on that Xavier bench.
They are. Well, Matt Stainbrook has been dealing with an MCL strain in his left knee. I talked to Coach yesterday. He said he doesn't expect him to be limited at all, but we do see that he is breathing pretty heavy. But there is no chance that he wants to come out of this game. He said, I would tear my ACL for this team. Now, of course, we hope that does not happen.
Good call, good story. And Stainbrook just trying to work his way back into shape. Meanwhile, B.J. Anya heads to the bench. NC State has Jordan Vandenberg back in. And it's Isaiah Fillmore unable to connect. So NC State can add to their lead. 12 paints in the point for the Wolfpack. Here's TJ Warren. There's Stainbuck with the board. Samaje Kristen. And that's going the other way. Offensive foul on Xavier's top scorer.
Xavier really is trying to get out and run, Brian, but they're having a difficult time doing it. Samaje Christian in transition. This is just a nice job by Ralston Turner getting himself in position. You have to be established before the ball starts up in the air on the offensive player's shooting motion, and it appeared to me that Turner had that position established. Xavier now with 5 turnovers. That has really been an issue for them.
Yeah, no assist, not assisted on a field goal yet. Xavier went 10-8 in the Big East this year. They lost to Creighton, 86-78. Doug McDermott went for 32 points in that game, made all 10 of his free throw shots. Creighton advancing to the championship round. That was last Friday. NC State's game against Duke, their loss at the ACC tournament was on Saturday.
Xavier stays in the man-to-man. And again, TJ Warren matched up against Justin Martin. See how they double team every time he comes off a screen, and Washington cannot handle that pass. If that's the way they're going to deal with screens, then the guy who screens for TJ Warren has to go get himself open.
Gonna have to be somebody else, you would figure, is Miles Davis, who's been in a shooting slump, and it carries over.
Yeah, he is 1 for his last 20 shooting 3-point baskets.
And now Ralston Turner on the other side, a little shaken up. We'll see if we can find out what that's all about. He's headed to the bench. NC State by 8.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Allstate, Hankook Tire, and by AT&T.
Take a look at our Buffalo Wild Wings game summary, Dan.
Well, NC State, obviously the key is getting out on the fast break. 11-0 in fast break points. A lot of that due to the fact that Xavier has turned it over 5 times. And NC State's been able to take advantage.
And here's Warren breaking free inside. Got a great pass from Tyler Lewis. He set him up perfectly, and 6 points for TJ Warren.
Good movement off the ball by TJ Warren, and that's what he does. He doesn't stand around and wait. He moves constantly without the basketball, and NC State does a nice job screening to get him open.
By the way, Ralston Turner went to the bench. We'll give you a look at why. Doesn't appear to be too serious, but he'll sit for the moment. Missing badly, Stainbrook. Here comes NC State in transition. Rising up is Warren, and he misfires. Good job, Stainbrook, running the floor for the rebound. And in transition, Samaje Kristen answers on the other end.
Now, TJ Warren normally makes that kind of a shot in transition, but that is a tough shot. And if you miss a tough shot in transition, that opens up the door for your opponent to go down the other end in transition. You don't want to let Samaje Christian get going if you're the North Carolina State Wolfpack.
Seemed like all year NC State was on the outside looking in as far as an NCAA tournament berth, but a huge win over Syracuse, and they plowed their way here as Christian goes strong to the basket. Wow, what a finish at the rim for Samaje.
And now Xavier able to get out in transition, and you cannot let Kristen have a full head of steam that close to the basket. You've got to stop him out near half court.
A little bit of a push here for the X. Three-pointer is short from Lewis. Fouls going the other way. Xavier basketball.
We're talking about with TJ Warren. That ball is missed. Red shirts around the basket. D. Davis does a great job pitching it ahead, and Samaje Christian really runs hard. Now here, Kristen has the ball, and he just drives it to the basket. Look at that play. We talked about his speed and his power. You saw it right there. He can get by his guy on the perimeter and get it all the way to the basket.
Ralston Turner is back in. NC State avoiding a couple of injury problems early here. TJ Warren rolled his ankle. Didn't take him out long. Ralston took a shot, took an elbow to the throat from his teammate, Kyle Washington. Kristen Kicks to the corner. Good ball movement. Here's Martin. Open. And he knocks it down. Justin Martin.
That's a nice job. Good ball movement by Xavier. And, you know, we've seen T.J. Warren with those 2 fouls make a couple of risky plays on defense. He's got to be careful.
Cat Barber running the point, tried to squeeze one in there. Bad idea. And Christian loses it off his leg. That'll be NC State ball.
Mark Gottfried asking these guys, hey, we got to find Kristen, slow him down.
Well, NC State went 9-9 in the ACC, but went on a little burst in March. They won at Pitt, they beat BC, Miami, and then that big one of the tournament over Syracuse. As Ralston Turner misfires, and it's going to be a foul. It's going to be on Kyle Washington. And the 5th team foul, second on Washington.
And what we've seen from the Wolfpack is when they have been able to play in transition, their offense looks really sharp. When they have not been able to play in transition, when Xavier has forced them into the half court, their offense has sputtered just a little bit.
Leonard Freeman in the game for Washington, who sits with a couple of fouls. NC State by 4. Xavier with a basketball. Second of our doubleheader tonight. And Christian stepped on the baseline, and frustration starting to boil here for Samaje Christian.
He may be frustrated, but he's really working hard. He does a great job moving without the basketball.
And now he'll have to match up against Anthony Barber.
Warren trying to post up inside.
Warren having a tough time getting free. Justin Martin denying him at all costs. Now he's got it. Shot clock at 12.
They both go with Warren. There we see that screen again. He sets the screen, does Washington, Freeman, and Fillmore just ignores him. Both Martin and Fillmore. This is what we're talking about. Watch as he comes off this screen. Fillmore just goes right with him. He's got 2 guys who go right with him rather than try to guard Freeman.
Fouls on the freshman Jalen Reynolds as Warren knocks the first free throw down. TJ is a 71% free throw shooter.
And he gets to the free throw line a lot. That is free throw attempt number 205 on the season.
One of the most prolific scorers in the country. Can't get the second to fall. Davis moves it quick.
He was a little reluctant to take the ball on, don't you think?
Once again, right? And here's Reynolds with Anya guarding. That's a tough matchup. Fillmore there to clean it up. Isaiah Fillmore, senior out of Bel Air, Maryland, with the putback.
Fillmore is not a high riser, but he's really effective around the basket.
The X got a good run from Matt Stainbrook. Now he's on the bench, and Fillmore handling most of the action in the post.
You see Reynolds now, he just left on you.
Ralston Turner, good looking stroke.
Turner does have a good looking stroke, and if they're going to double team T.J. Warren coming off every screen, other guys are going to have to find open spots to score.
Turner, a transfer from LSU. At 9 points against Syracuse, hit 3 3-pointers in that win.
Wolfpack stay in the man-to-man defense.
Christian, got it. Samaje Christian.
And that's his game, really. Not only the drive to the basket, but the pull-up jump shot.
8 points for Christian. Be the last run here for Cat Barber. Tyler Lewis set to check back in to run the point. T.J. Warren, no. And that's a foul over the back. B.J. Anya. With that big body. Called for the foul. Ralston Turner keeping NC State in the lead. You're watching the First Four presented by Northwestern Mutual. NC State by 3 over Xavier. And a reminder to play the official bracket game of NCAA March Madness. The Capital One NCAA March Madness Bracket Challenge is still open, so get your picks in now at ncaa.com/bracket challenge. Brian Anderson with Dan Bonner, Christine Leahy, and our terrific crew here in Dayton, being led in the truck by Rodney Vaughn and Chris Vinson. Great to have you with us.
You know, it's been an odd game, Brian. The Xavier Musketeers, they're shooting over 50%, but they've turned it over 7 times. And the interesting thing is Stainbrook and Christian are each 4 for 5, so they're 8 for 10. The rest of the team is 3 for 11.
See the foul situation. Xavier in the bonus of an ex-NC State foul. Xavier ball down 3. Stainbrook back in there, goes up and under and finishes. Boy, Stainbrook's having a terrific game.
Right, and he's having it against Jordan Vandenberg. Vandenberg just can't keep him out of the lane.
Stainbrook with 10 points on 5 of 6, and most of the work right inside. Only shot he missed was a little mid-range jumper. Ralston Turner, little contact, and he knocks down the jump shot. Boy, that looked like head-to-head contact right there. And D. Davis is a little dinged up. Martin will handle the basketball.
We'll have to see how Davis is. He does look a little groggy, doesn't he?
That looked like eye-to-eye contact with Ralston Turner and D. Davis.
Certainly didn't affect Turner.
Jalen Reynolds goes strong, cannot make the short one.
What a great outlet pass.
And here's T.J. Warren all the way, and a foul and a couple of free throws.
And that, you know, everybody from NC State is holding their breath, because if that's called a charge, that's Warren's 3rd foul. Davis trying to step in, and when a guy's moving as quickly as T.J. Warren, and Davis really didn't have a lot of time to get set. He's still moving. I mean, he never really established position.
Foul on Miles Davis. That's his 2nd, the freshman out of New Jersey.
And once you establish position, you're allowed to move laterally or back. But he never really established that position in the first place, and so that's why the charge was called. And I think Stainbrook, he wears those goggles, and I think he may have gotten hit in the goggles, and so therefore drew some blood.
And they'll have a little bit to get him fixed up and get him back on the floor. So Stainbrook's good to go. And T.J. Warren.
Kind of game Stainbrook's having, you don't want to come out of the game.
Right. First of 2 for Warren falls. A reminder to stay tuned for AT&T at the half with Matt Weiner, Seth Davis, Steve Smith, and Grant Hill live from Atlanta with analysis of the first half. The winner of this matchup will head to Orlando in the Midwest region, and they'll have a date with St. Louis. Back in is Desmond Lee, and Mark Gottfried's going to protect those 2 fouls of T.J. Warren with 1:21 remaining.
Yeah, I think Mark Gottfried was as worried about anybody else as that which way that call was going to go. So with only a minute left in the first half, he takes his star out.
Warren 8 fouls, or rather 8 points and 2 fouls.
When Stainbrook is demanding the basketball. Vandenberg did a nice job making him catch it a little further out that time before Stainbrook to give it up.
Samaje Christon has 8 points. He's 4 of 5 from the field tonight. And nothing there. Good defense by the Pack. Shot clock at 3. Martin lets it go.
Oh, what a tip
back! Big Matt Stainbrook. Stainbrook has 12. And we got a whistle underneath. See what
they call it technical?
Here. I think you're right, out of the coaching box.
Oh, no, they warned him about being out of the coach's box.
There you go.
So Chris Mack got a warning that he was out of the coach's box. Now the next time he goes out of the coach's box, they'll call a technical on him without a warning.
Mack was teed up in their last game against Creighton, the Big East tournament. Game clock down to 23. Xavier will get another shot here if they defend. 7 seconds separating the two. Good pass, and Vandenberg with the bucket and a chance at a three-point play, and a great setup by Tyler Lewis.
Boy, that was a hard catch because this pass is thrown through some traffic. Stainbrook is getting over there, and Vandenberg actually didn't catch that ball cleanly. Sort of loses it as he's going up and gets fouled.
And the lefty Vandenberg knocks down the free throw, and a three-point possession for NC State. Gives them a 6-point lead. Last possession here for the X.
And you would expect that it would end up with Kristen driving the ball to the basket.
Kristen matched up by Desmond Lee. Gets by him. Kristen to the hole. And a whistle. And this is a charge. Samaje Christian, an offensive foul. And a timeout. NC State.
Well, Leonard Freeman was standing there waiting for it. That's what you call establishing position. He was there in plenty of time. 6-point game. Now what you have to be able to do is stand your ground, establish your position, and be out of the restricted area. And you can see out of the restricted area by a good couple of steps is Leonard Freeman, and he was standing there. I think that's the longest I've ever seen somebody stand there and wait for a guy driving to the basket.
NC State's got to go quick. That'll count if it goes. It's off the glass, no good. Half over at NC State. Working around a little foul trouble with their star, TJ Warren. Big half for Matt Stainbrook. 12 points on 6 of 7 shooting. And the Wolfpack trying to advance to Orlando. 6-point lead over Chris Mack's Xavier Musketeers. Christine Leahy with Mark Godfrey.
Coach, it looks like you've been able to set the pace here. What pleases you from your team so far in the first half?
Well, I think we've got scoring from some different people. We haven't relied on TJ so much. I think when he picked up his second foul, he got a little cautious. Now we get in the second half. Hopefully, he'll kind of loosen up and go. But I thought he was a little cautious once he got that second foul.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, Christine, thanks. Mark Gottfried, his 10th NCAA tournament team as a head coach, the 3rd in a row at NC State. That's the end of the first half. NC State on top by 6. We'll send you to AT&T at the half after these messages. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship.
AT&T at the half is presented by AT&T. Rethink possible.
Well, when he's good, he's lethal. When he's injured or in foul trouble, less effective. We saw a little of both in that first half. A rocky start for TJ Warren and the North Carolina State Wolfpack, but they lead it by 6, 34-28 at the half. This is AT&T at the half from our Atlanta studio. Good to see you out there. I'm Matt Weiner, Seth Davis from Sports Illustrated, Steve Smith, Grant Hill here as well. Last year in this very gym, Warren had a rough start. 2 of 5, 4 points in a loss to Temple in the NCAA tournament. First few minutes of this game, 2 fouls and an ankle injury, Grant. Not great.
Matt, things didn't start off well for TJ Warren here. Got a little offensive foul, pushing off early in the game. 2 minutes into the game, got his first foul. And then his second foul, defending in transition. 2 fouls and an ankle injury with just 5 minutes into the first half. Not a good start for the most prolific scorer outside of McDermott. But you see he gets back in the game. He didn't lose his aggressiveness. He gets the ball. He scores in a variety of ways. He's got 9 points here at halftime. NC State's got the lead. So they dodged a bullet because he could have very easily got a 3rd foul there. But Coach Gottfried trusted him, put him back in the game, and he did a good job.
1:21 left to go in the half, and he nearly picked up a charge on one of those bang-bang plays you see.
Well, you know, a lot of coaches in college basketball, when their best player or any one of their players gets 2 fouls, now this one was a very close one, and you got the benefit of the whistle. And by the way, don't think for a second that the referees aren't fully cognizant of the fact that he's got 2 fouls. But there are many coaches in college basketball. Jim Calhoun always did this. Remember last year in the championship game, John Beilein did this with Trey Burke. They pick up 2 fouls, and they leave them out for the entire first half. Mark Gottfried trusted TJ Warren and obviously got a little bit of a break. But to me, guys, the question here in the second half is who of the other players are going to step up. NC State got a very balanced effort in the first half, much more so during the course of the year. 8 players scored for North Carolina State. State. Now, Xavier got a nice contribution from Stainbrook, but somebody else, maybe a D. Davis. Christian and Warren are going to get theirs. It's who has the better supporting cast going to win the game.
Well, maybe that other player is just more of T.J. Warren. You heard Mark Gottfried tell Christine Leahy at the half that he felt like Warren had been a little tentative after those fouls. Stainbrook was not tentative, and fortunately for the Musketeers, he appears to be healthy again after the ankle troubles at the tournament this weekend.
You're right, man, and he's locked in. I love what he did. Chris Mack, the coach, you got to go to him even a little bit more because he's establishing deep presence down on the block. He has a variety of different moves, and yes, he's a space eater. He creates space, but he has a nice touch, a nice feel, good footwork by the big fella down there on the block, and a nice face-up game. You can see this game means a lot for him because attention to detail has been there. This is going after offensive rebound. A little luck there, but if you don't go, you won't get an offensive rebound. He got a nice tip. He was 6 for 7 with 12 points, also 5 rebounds.
All right, and it's a 6-point game at the break. NC State leads it. The second 20 minutes coming up from Dayton in just a few minutes.
(1974), NC State ends UCLA's run. The Bruins came into the 1974 NCAA tournament looking for their 8th straight national championship. But NC State, behind AP Player of the Year David Thompson and head coach Norm Sloan, had other plans. The Wolfpack beat UCLA 80-77 in double overtime, overcoming a double-digit deficit in the second half to win the national semifinal. NC State went on to defeat Marquette in the title game, lifting the Wolfpack to the first of 2 national championships.
The history made 40 years ago. To the second half of our game after this, big Matt Stainbrook keeping the Musketeers in it. They're down by 6. Final 20 minutes from Dayton are next. Freshman forward B.J. Anya is on the board in his very first NCAA tournament game, and the Wolfpack leads it by 6.
AT&T at the half is presented by AT&T. Rethink possible. Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Buick Regal, Applebee's, Bud Light, and by Northwestern Mutual.
And we welcome you back to the first 4 presented by Northwestern Mutual, headed to the second half, and NC State with a 6-point lead over Xavier. Brian Anderson with Dan Bonner, and we started the broadcast talking about these 2 teams and their star players, Samaje Christian and T.J. Warren, but it's been the supporting cast that has stepped up.
Yeah, Brian, you're absolutely right. You heard Seth Davis make the point at halftime that he thinks whatever supporting cast does a better job will win the game. And here's NC State's supporting cast. Ralston Turner with a 3. Tyler Lewis with a 3, and then Kyle Washington operating very effectively inside. He scored 6 points. Now, Matt Stainbrook, he had 12 in the first half. He made 6 out of 7, operated very effectively around the basket and made that jump shot. But Stainbrook and Kristen have 20 of the 28 points, whereas NC State's had 8 guys score.
Xavier didn't share the basketball well at all. Just 1 assist to go along with 8 turnovers in the first half of play. A moment ago, Christine Leahy caught up with the Xavier head coach, Chris Mack.
Coach, 20 of your 28 points come from either Matt Stainbrook or Samaje Christian. How do you get the rest of your guys involved?
Well, it's not necessarily getting the rest of our guys involved. We have to play better on offense. We ran bad offense in the first half. We stood around too much. And when we did that, we turned the ball over. And that's where NC State got a third of their points in the first half because of our turnovers.
Thanks, Coach.
And our thanks to Chris Mack, very calm and cool. Did you see that save right there?
Absolutely, no turnover by that. That was a ball that was headed right for Christine Leahy's head, and Chris Mack, in the middle of a question, talk about multitasking, got the ball and knocked it away.
You could tell, not pleased with the way things went in the first half. A lot of basketball to play, though. 20 on the clock. We're ready for the second half here at Dayton, Ohio.
Even though he said that it's not about getting other guys involved, I think that's what running better offense means. You know, D. Davis only had 2 points. Fillmore only had 2 points.
Now Stainbrook with those 12 points to lead all scorers. And Martin gets off the first shot. That's going to stay in the possession of Xavier, out of bounds on NC State.
And that's Fillmore doing a great job battling on the inside. We said he isn't one of those high risers. He's basically a below the rim kind of guy. And he does such a nice job inside.
Samaje Christian in the first half for Xavier at 8 points, 4 of 5 shooting. He also has 2 fouls. And there's a whistle underneath. I think they got Washington. Kyle Washington, the freshman. And that's his 3rd foul. And a quick change for Mark Gottfried here.
Now this is really a problem because of the way Xavier's been playing defense. Right there, right in the middle of your screen, he just grabs him, and that's right in front of the official. If you're going to grab the guy, you got to do it a little more sneakily than that.
Here's Stainbrook, and doesn't get the roll at NC State with the ball. That's Ralston Turner. Turner got clocked in the throat by his own teammate Washington in that first half. He had to go to the bench for a spell. TJ Warren had a scare when he rolled his ankle. Also played much of that first half with 2 fouls.
Boy, Warren working hard to get the ball.
Mark Gottfried said he was a little tentative in that first half. Jumps to lane, does Christian. Gives it up, and Martin finishes. Great defense by Xavier. Samaje Christian got it started.
That was a bad pass by TJ Warren, but Tyler Lewis had to give him a better target.
Xavier just their 2nd assist as Turner gets loose for 3. Yes! Ralston Turner hits the 3.
D. Davis matched up against Turner, and Turner's got a few inches on Davis, so it'd be hard for Davis to contest that shot.
Double digits for Turner, gives him 10 points. And that is off the knee of D. Davis. TJ Warren calls the turnover.
Warren trying to make the pass to Tyler Lewis, and Samaje Christian doing a really nice job stepping into the passing lane.
Warren going in heavy. Ball out of bounds.
Warren asking for the foul there. He was by Martin, and Martin reached from behind and knocked it away.
TJ Warren, ACC Player of the Year. He has 10 points. Lewis finds him. Martin defends. Back to Lewis. Vandenberg wants to give it up. Nobody home. Now Warren's got it on the block, and that is out of bounds on Warren. He lost the handle. Turnover.
That was a very uncomfortable looking offensive possession for North Carolina State. Now Xavier, they've got to get a little bit more comfortable looking on offense. Their offense has really sputtered.
Winner of this game will head to Orlando to match up against St. Louis as Matt Stainbrook adds to his totals, now 14 points.
Vandenberg so concerned about Samaje Christian that he went too far, and Stainbrook did a nice job finding the open area.
Mark Gottfried couldn't find an answer for Stainbrook as Warren misses. And the putback. Jordan Vandenberg with the putback. On the floor, looking for a timeout and gets it. Justin Martin saves the possession. Now we're underway. The NCAA tournament. Second of our doubleheader at Xavier at NC State. Stainbrook having a big day. NC State with a 7-point lead. Monday, True TV is cracking the lock on an all-new series. The Safecrackers premieres Monday at 10 p.m. on True TV. Xavier down 7 with a basketball. Second half here at the first 4. Winner goes home, sees it over. The loser goes home. The winner advances to Orlando. entering into the round of 64 with a victory tonight. In the corner, Dean Davis knocks down a three. And now the third assist of the second half for the X. Just what Chris Mack was telling Christine.
D. Davis has had a hard time getting open shots. That time, good movement without the basketball. Exactly what Chris Davis was talking about. Better movement, both of personnel and the basketball, resulted in an easy shot.
TJ Warren, been guarded well tonight by Justin Martin. Vandenberg, and that's a takeaway. D. Davis got a hand on it, kicks it up ahead to Kristen. Yes. And here comes Xavier.
NC State had 4 turnovers in the first half. That's their 3rd turnover already in the second half.
Timeout, NC State.
And Mark Godfrey's going to call timeout just to settle his guys down.
That 7-point lead went away quickly. Xavier on a little bit of a run. They're within 2 in Dayton.
Now, moving without the ball sometimes can be fairly simple. Look at D. Davis right here. He throws the ball, and then he moves to the corner. And that's a very simple play, very basic. But if he just stands, then they can cover him. But when he moves to the corner, he gets away from Tyler Lewis far enough that he can get that jump shot. Really nice play by D. Davis, just getting a little more space on the floor.
Davis hits his first 3-pointer of the night. See the turnover story. As TJ Warren for 3 in and out. Boy, that ball is halfway down. Xavier moving it. Samaje Christian. Davis
nice pass.
Down in the corner. Here's Martin. No. Xavier really starting to move it well now. Here's Warren running, and a beautiful pass laid off perfectly by Tyler Lewis.
The key to that play was that TJ Warren hit the afterburners. That is great hustle by TJ Warren to get himself down and in position for that shot.
It's a nice tandem there. Tyler Lewis and TJ Warren. And now Warren with the steal. Warren will take it all the way. Almost overshot the basket. But he finishes in transition at NC State after that timeout. Comes up with a little surge of their own.
Now that's been the bugaboo for Xavier so far tonight, the turnovers, and NC State has really made him pay when they've turned the ball over.
How about Xavier? In the first half, they made 13 field goals, but had just 1 assist. 4 field goals made, 4 assists in the second half. Samaje Christian is fouled. TJ Warren running the floor. Lewis knows he's going to be there. And Warren starting to establish himself in the second half. NC State leads by 6 from Dayton second half. Our first 4 matchup tonight. Coke Zero wants to know, are you a real fan? Hashtag prove it. Visit the Coke Zero Social Arena in March Madness Live. Free throws coming up for Samaje Christian, 10 points. See those 5 turnovers for Christian. Has 3 assists, however. Matter of fact, has all 3 assists for Xavier. Misses the first of 2 shots.
And this, you know, we're 5 minutes and 50 seconds into the second half, and this is his first trip to the free throw line tonight. That is very unusual for him.
An offensive foul in that first half, a unanimous all Big East selection. It's 1 out of 2. Xavier down 5, NC State with the ball. Tyler Lewis continues to run the point. Got a good matchup to watch tonight. Warren and Justin Martin.
Martin's getting a lot of help from his teammates.
Lewis patient, and finally a whistle here. Ralston was trying to get free. You could see Lewis waiting on him. And D. Davis called for the foul. That's his second. That's just the first team foul of the second half for Chris Mack's team.
That's a good hard cut by Ralston Turner. You don't draw that foul unless you're working hard.
Here's
That's
Turner
a tough shot.
for 3.
That's a great job by Lewis. He can't get up and try to block it, but he got right up into him. That was a very, very good defensive play by D. Davis.
Samaje Christian will give it up to Davis. Davis runs the show. The junior from Bloomington, Indiana. Just hit a big 3 in the corner a moment ago. Fillmore, little ball fake, goes to the rack. Nicely done, Isaiah Fillmore.
You know, if Fillmore's going to shoot that ball, I think if you're Jordan Vandenberg, you let it go, but you don't go for the fake and allow Fillmore to go to the basket. So every time NC State threatens to run it out a little bit, Xavier responds, and it's hard to respond to that.
TJ Warren makes a tough shot.
It's a very tough shot, very well defended. That's just a great score in action.
Davis. Davis will go to the rack with the left. No. Rebound by Jalen Reynolds. Nowhere to go inside. Another one, and that's going to be a foul. Reynolds was going up strong, but being denied.
Well, Jordan Vandenberg had a tough time handling that screen, and then he gets the block the first time, but the second time, nice job by Reynolds just to stay with it.
Here's a freshman, Jalen Reynolds. Reynolds and Samaje Kristen and TJ Warren of NC State, all teammates at Brewster Academy. Say you can get the most complete coverage of every team in your bracket in the tournament's best moments with the Team Stream app from Bleacher Report. Fuel your passion with Team Stream on your iPhone, iPad, or Android device today. Reynolds knocks them both down. A couple of big free throws for Xavier. NC State by 3 with the ball.
Brian, interestingly enough, those are the first 2 points from the Xavier bench tonight.
Comes by way of the freshman. Both teams have freshmen who have significant impact on their rotation. NC State has 4 freshmen in their rotation as Warren. Boy. Off one leg.
You can't guard that.
He's a gym rat. He says he spends time practicing these various shots, these difficult shots, trying to think about how the defense will match him up. He gets a steal here. Warren all the way. TJ Warren starting to roll now. Gives him 17. He's hit half of his shots. Had a pretty quiet first half. He rolled his ankle, had a couple of fouls early. Trying to sneak it in. Warren got a hand on it. Another steal. Well, he's everywhere right now. Don't blame him. Find him.
Well, that's one of the things that Tyler Lewis does. When Lewis starts a game, TJ Warren averages 27 points a game. When Lewis doesn't start the game, Warren averages 20 points a game.
So you're saying that 4-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio slightly influenced by TJ Warren?
Well, if you're going to throw the ball to a guy like TJ Warren, it's likely you're going to get a lot of assists.
Amen. Shot clock at 5. Down in the corner. Not there. Misfire from Desmond Lee. Here comes D. Davis. Samaje Christian.
Boy, there's Anya again. He has been a force on the inside. That's 4 blocked shots for the big fella.
He and Warren watching this one from the other end. And NC State, outnumbered on that side, still gets the bucket. Tyler Lewis with a layup. And the Wolfpack up 9 in Dayton, trying to advance to the round of 64. Back in Dayton, and a reminder to get complete coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Tournament on NCAA.com. A couple of teams moving in. The winner will go in as a 12 seed to match up against the 5 seed St. Louis. Always a lot of upsets in that part of the bracket. That game will be Thursday in Orlando. Tyler Lewis with a layup just before that break. TJ Warren, however, has scored 8 of NC State's last 12.
And Warren is taking a breather. Every once in a while, he's got to go out and rest. Stainbrook back in the game for Xavier.
Extended rest for Stainbrook, and that was destroyed by Leonard Freeman.
Woo. That's 8 blocked shots in the game for North Carolina State, and it was Freeman as well as Anya who are right here. What do you get, half a block, like a sack there?
Let's take a look at our tournament summary. See the teams tied for the most bids. Texas did not get a bid last year. 4 of them in this year. And down at the bottom, how about that, Dan? Virginia winning not only the regular season, but the tournament title in the ACC, a #1 seed.
And that's only the second tournament title in the ACC for Virginia in the 61-year history of that conference.
Xavier basketball. Stainbrook got blocked by the bottom of the basket, but gets his own and finishes. Stainbrook now with 16 points for Xavier. They needed that out of the break.
Well, Xavier has missed 14 two-point attempts, and 8 of them have been blocked by North Carolina State. So it's hard to shoot a high percentage when the ball, instead of going up to the basket, comes flying back at you.
It's a correction, 14 for Stainbrook. Big bodies down there. Anya and Stainbrook. Anya with the hook. Here comes Christian, leads Fillmore. Fillmore will take it. Nice little move at the rim. Xavier with a couple of buckets out of the timeout.
Now that's not what Mark Gottfried is looking for from B.J. Anya. And T.J. Warren at the scorer's table. He's ready to come back in.
Christian just hounding Tyler Lewis.
Well, that's the word for it.
And Lewis gets off a tough shot, finished by the freshman Leonard Freeman.
But that's difficult to take if you're the Xavier defense, because Christian did a great job.
Xavier trying to take advantage without Warren on the floor. He's sitting at the scorer's table. That's Stainbrook, and he's fouled. Anya got him. He's going to send Stainbrook to the free throw line.
Tyler Lewis is going to drive to the basket, and watch right here. Fillmore steps into the lane and doesn't get back to block out. Just does a poor job. He actually got back, but just did a poor job blocking out. Nice job by Leonard Freeman.
Stainbrook indeed has 16, had a little scoring adjustment, misses the first. A reminder, March 27th, an all-new Impractical Jokers Texas style, March 27th at 9:30 p.m. on True TV. Stainbrook knocks down 1 out of 2, 17 points for the big man from Xavier. 6-point NC State lead, a trip to the round of 64 on the line here tonight.
Xavier's doing a great job hanging around. You just get the idea, though, that they need to make a little run here to tighten it up.
Both of these teams feel like now that they are in, they have the talent to make a bit of a run in the NCAA tournament. As Warren uses his body well and knocks down the jumper so good.
And Mark Gottfried is saying, hey, wasn't that a foul on the shot? Warren uses his body well, bounced off Martin. I swear to goodness, Martin can't do a much better defensive job being physical with Warren, but Warren's just making great shots.
Yeah, he's blistering Xavier. 10 points here in the second half. Going to stay in the possession of Xavier. Take you back to T.J.
This is what we're
Warren.
talking about with Warren. He takes it in there. There's a lot of contact right there. And Warren, that is a difficult shot. You can't guard that much better than Martin just did.
Stainbrook. And he was bothered by Anya. Lewis finds Warren running the floor. T.J. Warren flying down the lane.
And we've seen him do that a couple of times. He is a guy who works for his points. He doesn't mind running down the court.
T.J. Warren, his 30th 20-point game of the season. That is an NC State record. Fillmore had it blocked. Anya got a piece, but that's going to be a foul.
Boy, Anya, he better be careful. You talk about T.J. Warren. This time he gets out ahead of the pack, not catching up. You're watching the First Four, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Our game summary brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Dan, NC State matching their largest lead.
They have done a nice job shooting the ball from two-point range. You see only 3 for 11 from outside the arc, but they've done a nice job defensively. Xavier, only 1 3-point field goal in the game, and T.J. Warren, he's taken over. He's 6 for 8 in the second half. He scored 12 points. He scored 10 of the last 14 over the last 5.5 minutes for North Carolina State.
Looking like the ACC Player of the Year. Fillmore knocks down the first free throw. Warren's got this great run going. Single season record. He passed Rodney Moore. Got 30 20-plus point games. 1 out of 2 for Fillmore. And you can expect more of the same from NC State with TJ Warren on the floor here. Lead is 9 for the Wolfpack.
I think Tyler Lewis has done a really nice job fighting this pressure. Samaje Christian has really done a nice job covering him up, and Lewis has simply responded.
And Anthony Barber, Cat Barber, has not played all that much here tonight. He's a much more dynamic point guard, can get his own. You figure he'll be one of the featured players next year for NC State, but the way NC State runs their offense, especially as it goes through Warren, Tyler Lewis is the guy who gets him the ball and makes it go. And there's a whistle before the shot, and Ralston Turner went out of bounds on that curl, which is something they're emphasizing this year that you cannot do. And NC State turns it over. Got to stay in the lanes.
Well, you can go out of bounds, they just can't throw it to you when you come back in if you're the first guy to touch it.
Samaje Christian gets a pass from Stainbrook, who finishes. The Stain train keeps on churning. 19 points for Matt Stainbrook.
And it's interesting, most of those 19 have been scored against Jordan Vanderburg.
Ralston Turner, tough shot, knocks it down. Wow.
Not only TJ Warren that can make tough shots, huh?
Here's Martin for 3. No. Rebound secured by Vanderburg. Stainbrook got a piece of it.
Mark Godfrey telling his guys, hey, calm down.
Running some clock. Very methodical offensively, they can be. Gonna work it here.
I don't think they're trying to be methodical. They're just trying to get a good shot. You don't want to take your foot off the gas pedal right now. Too much time left.
Turner wide open for 3. Comes up short. But a rebound, an offensive board pulled down. And a foul on Xavier. That's on Justin Martin.
Now Matt Stainbrook, he does a great job with the pass, and Jordan Vandenberg just doesn't pay any attention to him. You got to turn around and block the guy out. And this is a really tough shot. D. Davis that time was not able to bother Ralston Turner. That is a tough matchup for Davis once Turner gets into the scoring position, because Davis simply can't get up and contest that shot.
Warren now with 22 points. He's hit 4 of 5 from the free throw line. Miles Davis will check in for Isaiah Fillmore. How about that? 840 points this season, a single season record in NC State program history. Has doubled his scoring output from a year ago. He lost 20 pounds this offseason, stopped eating fast foods, got onto a workout and a diet plan, and what a player he is. Stainbrook, tough shot. Nothing there. Another rebound for Leonard Freeman. The freshman has 6 boards in this game.
That's really the first time that Stainbrook has forced it. And Xavier, they still have lots of time left in this game. They don't need to force things.
And there's a foul on Xavier.
That's Christian bumping TJ Warren as he cuts through the lane.
So that's his 3rd foul. Top scorer for Xavier.
It's only the 4th team foul on Xavier, though. They can afford to be aggressive. They had success early in this half when they were able to force turnovers.
Jalen Reynolds is in for Matt Stainbrook. And here's Warren.
I'm gonna say if that one went in, everything's going in.
Ready to go. Davis from the corner. What a shooting woes continue for Miles Davis. Lewis pushing it. And now NC State will set it up. Nothing there for him.
That was not your most elegant looking fast break effort, but they pulled the ball back out, and that's the smart thing to do.
Then hand it to Warren. Vandenberg knocks it down. A little mid-range jumper for the lefty.
Now he can make that shot. He doesn't take a lot of them, but if you leave him alone like that, he's very capable of hitting that shot.
It's a 12-point NC State lead, their largest of the ball game. Xavier in the danger zone here. Under 5 minutes. Here's Martin. Scoops it, and he's fouled. A couple of free throws coming up for Justin Martin. And the foul on Jordan Vandenberg. That's his first foul. 6th team foul for NC State. And Martin will shoot 2. Martin, returning starter, averaging just shy of 12 points per game. Has 6 here tonight. And he knocks down the first free throw. Don't forget, coming up next on True TV, it's Inside March Madness presented by Buick. Matt Weiner, Seth Davis, Steve Smith, and Grant Hill have all the tournament talk and First Four analysis. First Four continues tomorrow here from Dayton. We saw Albany beat Mount St. Mary's in the opener of our doubleheader. Albany will get the Gators on Thursday. The winner here matches up against St. Louis. So Martin knocks him down.
And Xavier electing to come with some pressure.
Lewis so good with the basketball.
He has really done a nice job battling the pressure that they've exerted against him this entire half.
Vandenberg. And Lewis will set it up. 9 on the shot clock. Warren on the opposite end of the floor. Lewis goes to the hole. Good pass. Oh, and a dunk. Set up beautifully by Lewis as Vandenberg brings it down.
That is great patience by Tyler Lewis to recognize what's going on with the clock. 7 assists now for Lewis against only 1 turnover.
They wrestled. And Reynolds, nothing there. Davis will let it go for 3. And Martin, there's a foul on Xavier. NC State basketball. Tyler Lewis handles everywhere. 7 assists, 1 turnover. Beautiful pass to Vandenberg. The Wolfpack rolling.
Now Tyler Lewis may look like the paper boy, but he has shown tonight he is one tough customer. Xavier has been trying to do everything they can to pressure him, and yet he has not only scored 7 points, 3 above his average, he's done a great job handling the basketball. 7 assists, only 1 turnover, really handling this team in the half court about as good as a person can.
How about that graphic right there? Tyler Lewis
as a person can.
Has more assists than Xavier as a team. And by the way, if you go into the superlatives, NC State, they are 16-1 when they have 14 or more assists. They're sitting on 14 assists right now. Lewis has half of them. NC State by 12. Lewis like a perfect drummer, just keeping this band in time the whole game.
Now you got D. Davis in a mismatch against T.J. Warren.
There's Warren. And he's able to get a shot off. He's fouled. Warren sitting on 22 points. Winner moving on to the round of 64 and a matchup with St. Louis, the Billikens, out of the Atlantic 10. A-10 got 6 bids this year, 6 teams.
A-10 had a great season.
NC State probably one of the last 10. That win over Syracuse did wonders for their NCAA selection chart, and now that they're here, feel like they're ready to make a run. 3:24 remaining in regulation. State leads by 12. Big possession for the X. Stainbrook. Nothing there, and it's saved by Lewis. Here comes Warren, gives it up. Turner's fouled. Man, what can he do tonight? He's been the star, Tyler Lewis.
And D. Davis is just foul of the game. Now watch what Lewis does. The amazing thing, he waits and holds that ball until he finds an open teammate. This is a very dangerous play to make unless you've got one of your guys open. Very difficult to save that ball under the opponent's basket.
Yeah, the old adage, never throw it under the basket, but he found a red jersey.
Well, he waited. He was on his way down until he saw Turner.
Ralston Turner at the line. 69% free throw shooter, hits the first. Davis is fouled out, D. Davis.
Wait, that's a real blow to Xavier.
5 points for D. Davis. And Turner knocks them both in. And NC State by 14. Does Xavier have a run in him? Check it by 15. As Martin lets a three go. No. Stainbrook the board. Stainbrook fouled, and it's in and out. A couple of free throws coming for Matt Stainbrook.
The main character, Samaje Christian, only has 3 points in this half. North Carolina State, in the person of Ralston Turner in particular, has done a really nice defensive job against Samaje Christian in the second half, and that has really disrupted the Xavier offensive flow.
And Christian overall with 11 points. Xavier has just one field goal in the last 7 minutes of the game clock. Just one made basket. 7:02 on the game clock officially. Warren going up top. Vandenberg couldn't quite get there. And actually Warren is the one who deflected that into the hands of Martin, who steps out of bounds. NC State basketball.
Vandenberg should have been throwing it to DJ Warren, but for some reason he was trying to throw it to Tyler Lewis. Warren thought the pass was to him. He just threw that so hard. It's a good thing he didn't hit Warren in the forehead with it. He'd have knocked him out.
Desperation time for Xavier. They call a timeout. They're down 15. Well, Xavier, a team that shoots 35% from behind the arc, figures they're going to need some threes to get back in here.
Yeah, and part of the problem is that they've only had one three-point basket made tonight, and one of their best three-point shooters, D. Davis, has fouled out of the game.
It's just tough to come back when TJ Warren is on the other side. They're down 15. Time running out as Warren gets the pass and brings it home. Wow. TJ Warren.
Well, that's certainly not what Chris Mack told him to do during the timeout, and he's asking him, what are you guys up to?
Just deflating out of the timeout as Christian hits the three. TJ Warren with 16 points here in the second half. He's got 25 tonight. And they're starting to head for the exits here at Dayton.
If you're Xavier, you simply can't let North Carolina State run this amount of time off the clock.
An eternity going off the clock. Going on to 2 minutes here. And here's Lewis. Zips one over to Vandenberg. Christian, the rebound. Got to go quickly here. And here's Miles Davis. No. And Miles Davis going to finish this year in a terrible shooting slump. Going to have to think about that all offseason.
Well, over his last 8 games, including this one, he is now 1 for his last 22 from beyond the arc.
Now the freshman from Plainfield, New Jersey, is going to send Isaiah Fillmore to the line. Oh, what a performance by NC State. Just got in here. Played their way in late, went on a little run in March. Went on the road and won at Pittsburgh. Beat BC, Miami, had that tournament win against Syracuse. A couple of subs here for Mark Gottfried. Vandenberg will take a seat.
Brian, but in addition to those wins late in the season, North Carolina State played a very strong non-conference schedule, and that's one of the things that the tournament selection committee has emphasized over the years. Not necessarily overall. If you have a great season, then they're not going to say, well, we're going to keep you out of the tournament because you didn't play a strong non-conference schedule. But if you're at the end, and you're being compared to other people, and it's just down to you or somebody, you know, one other team, the non-conference strength of schedule fits in there, along with this is a pretty good finish. Yeah. So they finished well. They played a strong non-conference schedule, and I think that was the deciding factor.
Well, you know they've got St. Louis's attention. Jim Cruz and the Billikens, a 5 seed, will welcome in NC State. And how many teams that just sneak into the tournament have a player like TJ Warren, who can take over a game at any time, has proven to be one of the best players and scorers in the country. He's had a couple of 40-point games this year. He's had 9 30-point games. He's sitting on 25 tonight.
One of the ways that you have an effective offense, if you have a guy who's hard to guard. And TJ Warren has demonstrated he's sure hard to guard.
Lewis, fitting that he gets the rebound, just filling up the stat sheet tonight. Lewis has 7 assists in this game to go along with 7 points, and he's done so much more than even the stats tell you.
I think his toughness was one of the keys to the second half. Xavier really pressured him, but they couldn't bother him. They couldn't speed him up. They couldn't get him to turn the ball over. That's a very, very impressive performance by Tyler Lewis.
And NC State's got a nice little point guard combo in Cat Barber and Lewis. Now the end of the line for Xavier after going 10-8 in the Big East Conference, their first year in the Big East. The move from the A-10, one of the 6 teams to make it to the tournament.
Now, nothing intentional there. Reynolds just tripped him.
Mark Gottfried all smiles. And a reason. Tyler Lewis, 7-7 here tonight. Why not?
Well, he is human. He missed a free throw.
Another one ends up in his hands.
And he looks like he's a little worn out, doesn't he? And he deserves it.
All right, Dan,
he deserves a little rest out there.
Talk to us about St. Louis and NC State. The Billikens waiting.
Well, the Billikens, one of the best teams in the country early in the season. They stumbled down the stretch a little because they weren't as efficient on offense as they were earlier in the season. But St. Louis is experienced. They're really a tough team. It'll be an interesting matchup for NC State.
Exclamation point. Ralston Turner hits the 3. The Billikens had a 19-game winning streak this season. It's a dangerous matchup. Always is at tournament time, that 12-5 matchup. St. Louis will be ready for them. That'll be in Orlando Thursday.
Quick turnaround for North Carolina State. Even quicker turnaround for Albany. They play Florida at 4 o'clock, I think, on Thursday.
Don't forget, first 4 continues tomorrow. Tennessee and Iowa in the nightcap. Cal Poly and Texas Southern. It's NC State. They march on. Mark Gottfried and the Wolfpack behind T.J. Warren with 25 points. 7 assists from Tyler Lewis. And they win it impressively, 74-59 over Xavier. Congratulations to NC State and Albany advancing out of the first 4.
Very impressive performance by North Carolina State, led by that guy and along with T.J. Warren, who after getting in foul trouble earlier in the game, had a big, big second half for the Wolfpack.
Well, this is the 4th year of the first 4. In the previous 3 years of this format, one team has won at least 1 game moving on. We send it over to Christine Leahy.
Coach, from day 1 until now, you guys have improved so much. What are you most proud of your team for tonight?
Well, we've got a lot of young players, and they just keep growing up. And sometimes we got 2 and 3 freshmen out there, and 2 freshmen, some sophomores. They've learned how to execute their offense and get the right shots for our team, the shots we need to take. And then they've gotten better defensively. So we've improved, and that's been good. Today was a big win for our guys. Gives us great confidence.
T.J. Warren really got going in the second half there. What did you see out of him tonight?
Well, you know, he got 2 fouls early. We talked about that. He settled down, and I thought the second half he got a lot more aggressive. He was hunting for shots, going to the rim. Tyler did a great job of getting him the ball, especially out in the break a couple times. But, you know, he's just a great player. It's hard to keep him down for a whole 40 minutes.
Up next, you guys have St. Louis. What are your initial thoughts on that?
Well, I really haven't watched him. We spent so much time trying to get Xavier such a quick turnaround, but we'll get ready. I watched them once or twice this year. They're really, really good. Jim's done a great job with that team, so it's going to be fun.
Coach, thank you. Brian, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Christine, thanks. Mark Gottfried, a team that went to the Sweet 16 in 2012. They're moving on here. NC State wins it. They beat Xavier. They'll have St. Louis in Orlando. We'll take a break. Be back. Some final thoughts. Stay with us. NC State, a 15-point win over Xavier. The finale of our first 4 here on a Tuesday, and NC State will advance. And Dan T.J. Warren, the ACC Player of the Year, he looked like it in the second half.
Brian, T.J. Warren averaged 10 field goals per game this year. That led the country, and that's what he got tonight. He got his 10 field goals. He got 25 points. He was very impressive in the second half. Slowed down with those 2 fouls early, but he put on a show.
The sophomore from Durham, 14 second-half points. NC State headed to Orlando. That'll be a game on TNT on Thursday. Tip time is 7:20 Eastern, and that 12-5 matchup between NC State and St. Louis out of the A-10. Looking forward to that. Dan and I will be there along with Christine. For Dan Bonner and Christine Leahy, this is Brian Anderson saying so long from Dayton, Ohio. The NCAA tournament is underway. Stay tuned for Inside March Madness, presented by Buick. That is right up after these messages. So long, everyone.
The nation's third leading scorer delivered in the second half and just got his average and, more importantly, an NCAA tournament win for the North Carolina State Wolfpack. 74-59 is the final count, and the Wolfpack move on to the round of 64. Welcome inside our Atlanta studio. It's Inside March Madness, presented by Buick. Good first day of the tournament here. Matt, Seth Smitty, and Grant Hill. NC State and Xavier, couple of 12 seeds. The Wolfpack, the very last team selected for the field of 68. They just squeezed in to the tournament. Samaje Christon, TJ Warren, high school teammates a couple of years ago. Tyler Lewis to Kyle Washington on the break, and we are off and running. NC State up by 3 early on. Bad start for Warren, though. Couple of early fouls, and he rolls his ankle here. Looked like disaster for the Wolfpack.
Did not look good for NC State early on. Warren, their best player, obviously getting hurt. Everything checked out okay, but he got 2 fouls, which wasn't good.
BJ Anya, he had a moment. How about that for your first NCAA tournament points?
You know, I like the energy he brought, the passion. You can see blocking shots, great outlet. The freshman did a nice job in limited minutes.
And who's there on the back end? It's Warren for the layup back in the game. And the Wolfpack back in front by 6. Here comes Xavier. Samaje Christon. The layup after the crossover, and then off the Jalen Reynolds miss, Isaiah Fillmore working the boards. Big Matt Stainbrook hurt, injured with an ankle injury over the weekend, back and healthy in this game.
Stainbrook played big for Xavier.
Jordan Vandenberg, layup and 1. He would make that free throw. And we went to the half with the Wolfpack up by 6. Second half, Christon gets a hand in there defensively and finds Justin Martin. And Martin throws it down. Musketeers are within 4 at 34-30. More defense from the X-Men. It's Christon.
Samaje did a good job of pushing tempo, had a nice offensive game, tried to defend TJ Warren, but there was just no stopping him.
Warren did what Warren does in the second half, gets a hand on it here, and he'll take it the other way for another 2. And then off the break.
Look at him getting out, running without the basketball, does an excellent job as a scorer, doesn't need to pound the basketball, find different ways of scoring.
Lewis setting up Jordan Vandenberg, who throws it down. High and mighty for him. NC State up by 12, pulling away, and it's Warren to polish it off. The Wolfpack get the win for Mark Gottfried as Warren goes for 16 of his 25 in the second half. His 30th 20-point game of the season and 18th straight. That is the longest Division I streak since the Jimmer. 3 seasons ago.
I remember the Jimmer.
You remember the Jimmer?
Is he here?
And TJ Warren also just set a school record for most points in a single season. He's outscored David Thompson. That's saying something.
That is huge. Right there. Talk about David Thompson, because he put up points. And TJ Warren's one of those guys, though, you watch the way him play. And as we'll get a chance, Matt, to show some of these plays, just look at this effort. Great contest. But watch, keep your eye on TJ Warren. He is on the baseline. Look at him get out and run. That's just a commitment, a discipline of being a great player. I love what he did. And defensively, here's a guy that competes as well. Works his way around, the offensive player gets to steal and I love his explosion. When he has the basketball, he's just one of those guys that can score, score, score. He's a tough shot maker. Great defense by Xavier. You can see, take the bump off balance, get his body turned in one motion. TJ Warren, what a second half he's had.
10 of 18 from the field. A few of those buckets from Tyler Lewis. The Wolfpack are now 7-0. When he produces 7 or more assists, he had 8 in this game.
Yeah, no, tonight is the night of the small guy. Obviously, TJ Warren played great, but the first game, DJ Evans was huge. Tonight, Tyler Lewis finding an open man in transition. Of course, entering the ball inside the Warren. That's a tough pass there into the post play. And rewarding Warren for great hustle and transition, and then dropping it off to his big man, Jordan Vandenberg. Tyler Lewis came in, gave a big spark, found guys, and as you said, got 7 assists. He's got to do it the next game.
He had 8 assists, which is 1 more than Xavier as a team tonight.
Well, what's amazing, you showed that statistic about TJ Warren having an historically great scoring season for North Carolina State. He's made 31 three-pointers all season long. They played 33 games. He doesn't even make 1 3 a game. In today's day and age, you mentioned Jimmer Fredette. You think about Doug McDermott jacking it up from three-point range. He's a dynamic scorer, doesn't do a ton of damage from the free throw line. He was 5 for 8 tonight. So now they move on to their next game against St. Louis. Now, St. Louis is a better defensive team than Xavier, but they have a similar profile. They really struggle scoring the basketball. Right. St. Louis was a top 10 team for much of the season. Down the stretch, they couldn't score. They lost some games. This is not a good matchup for the Billikens here in round 2.
Struggled scoring, struggled at the end of the season as well. So that's 2 games in the book, 2 more tomorrow. Back to wrap it up after this, which means somebody is getting the coveted Sparty helmet from Steve Smith.
Helmet already?
Could it be TJ Warren?
We don't have a Duke helmet?
We have to explain to Grant what the Sparty helmet is.
Blue Devils have horns, not helmets.
Can't get you a helmet yet.
We've reached that portion of the show, Smitty.
For Grant Hill, the rookie on the set, we have the Spartan helmet. We give this out to the player of the night. Did you see it? You want to touch it?
Not really.
Okay, that's all right. We don't have to touch it.
Has it been washed since last year?
It's been washed and polished.
Okay,
you
good.
can see. But the player tonight goes to TJ Warren. TJ Warren of North Carolina State in foul trouble. He started off 2 fouls. He twisted his ankle, but did he pour it on in the second half? Had a nice first half, 9 points, but in that second half, he was unstoppable. Not just scoring the basketball. I love his hustle, his passion of the game, and he's just one of those guys that you want to see play. I want to see him play in person because he's a flat-out shot maker. Does all the little things, unorthodox game, but he comes up with big numbers.
It's our surprising performance presented by Buick.
Yeah,
that's surprising.
Oh, man.
Nice.
Is that you?
Is that you behind them?
They didn't put the mustache on you.
When does he get his helmet, by the way?
Props.
When do you deliver the helmet?
He just had it. Did you see it?
That was it?
Yeah, that was it.
It's figurative.
Gotta love it.
Oh.
Thank you, Seth.
We only have enough money for 1 helmet. He can't give a helmet. Sending it. Plus, you have to pay shipping.
The helmet's fine.
Our helmet budget is that small?
Relax.
We spent $11 billion to get the tournament. Can't be shipping helmets.
Like back when Magic was there, that helmet.
You know you wanted to go to Michigan State.
Oh, they didn't recruit me, man.
Yeah. Mike Krzyzewski started recruiting you in 3rd grade.
Back at it at 6 Eastern time tomorrow night.
There you go.
Part 2 of the first 4. Good start. Good start to the tournament.
A great start. 2 good games.
Back at it tomorrow. We'll see you then. Thanks for being there, everybody.